Hello and welcome. For the past year, I've been streaming. Wanted to obviously share my experience with you and hopefully shed some light on certain subjects that maybe could be of interest to you or that's bothering you. And of course, learning from my mistakes as well and what I have learned throughout this journey. So hopefully, this video would be of great benefit to you, especially if you are trying to get into streaming or if you are a new streamer or if you're trying to grow your streaming base. Hopefully, this video will be of benefit to you once again. So yeah, let's kick things off. The first thing I wanted to mention is that it is actually relatively easy to get into streaming and it's not easy at the same time. So what do I mean by that? You can literally start streaming right now. Like as long as you have a decent camera, a lot of cameras out there, a lot of webcams especially. And of course, if you have a half decent mic, you can get by with that as long as you configure correctly. And if you're gaming on PC, it makes relatively everything so much bit more easier. You could just literally screen share and you're good to go. If you want to, stream on console, there's obviously going to be an addition to that setup, which is a capture card. But a lot of capture cards right now, even if you go on Facebook Marketplace, you can get for like 60 to 80 bucks. I got mine brand new. The Averb Media. It was the mini capture card for like 100 bucks, brand new. So if I was able to get that brand new, you're able to get that for like 50 bucks or 60 bucks on Marketplace or Kijiji or whatnot. And yeah, you just put that together and you'll be able to start streaming. I mean, of course, I'll definitely like to create another video to showcase my setup and what I'm using right now, but that is relatively easy for that. Now, for the not easy side is more of using your equipment to the best way possible. What I mean by that is like if your camera is not configured correctly, if the lighting's not good, if for example your microphone's not actually picking up your voice correctly, or even if it's picking out a lot of background noise, which is kind of a little bit irritating or annoying, that's going to actually put down your quality for your streams and your recordings, and it might turn people off of like tuning in and actually staying for a long time. So my advice for you is to make sure you know your equipment well. Make sure to research your equipment, especially before buying it. If you're trying to like buy equipment, make sure you literally look into, okay, is this good for streaming? A lot of webcams out there, they're good for actual live calling, but for streaming, for some reason, it does not reflect the same recording or the same quality as what you are expecting. So make sure to definitely look into that. And of course, just because you spend more money doesn't mean it's going to be necessarily the best quality ever. That's why you need to do your research, read the reviews, and just go off from there. And of course, if something does not work well for you, obviously make sure wherever you bought your equipment from, make sure to get their return policy or warranty, whatever, that at least you can trade it in or take the credit for something else, right? So just be prepared for that. Second point I wanted to mention is commitment, patience, and consistency. These three things are very important, especially if you want to stream. And in fact, I would say it's required. What are these three things and what are examples of that? So commitment is basically a mental note that hey, I am going down to the wire with this. I'm going to go all the way through. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep trying again and again. I'm going to keep researching. I'm going to keep trying different ways of how to actually stream and obviously get my viewers to actually tune in and stick with me as well. You can obviously watch various different videos and whatnot about this, but at the same time, you don't want to overload yourself. You just need to say to yourself that, hey, I'm here for the long haul, and this is not going to be an overnight switch. Sure, miracles do happen, but the thing is, you are facing thousands upon thousands of content creators and streamers out there that you need to at least ground yourself in and get in your niche or what you're trying to get into. And that's requiring commitment. Second thing is patience. And this ties in with commitment as well. You need to wait for the long haul. There are people out there that have been streaming for years that I know. Of course, they could do some certain things different because they're playing different games every other week and they're not establishing their niche, right? So if you are going to stream and you're like, these are the games that I want to play. Let's say if it's Fortnite, let's say if it's Roblox, let's say if it's Warzone, whatever, and you're that type of player and you're that gamer for that type of game, that is your niche. You're gonna start off with that and keep with that and keep going. And whatever timings you can do to stream, do it, but make sure to be patient throughout this journey. It's gonna take a lot out of you and just enjoy yourself, enjoy the ride, and most importantly, you're a gamer, right? So you're enjoying the video game as well that you're playing. You're enjoying the game that you're playing as well. So it's going to make things easier for you if you're enjoying your own company, if you're enjoying your own gameplay. When viewers pop in and they're interacting with you, it makes the whole thing much more easier. And last thing, as I mentioned, is consistency. You don't need to like once again, like you don't need to have stream every single day. We all have jobs, we all have a life, all go to school, whatever we're trying to do in our life, we have an outside life of streaming as well. But consistency needs to be in a sense where like imagine you're streaming like 3, 4 days and all of a sudden you just disappear for 3 weeks, right? That's inconsistent. But if you're streaming 2, 3 times a week, and then the next week you're streaming twice a week, and the next week you're streaming 3 times that week, that's good enough. Honestly, that's good enough, in the beginning, especially because now people can know and they can discover you. But make sure to try to at least stream around approximately the same time as you would normally do. So, for example, if you streamed, let's say 1 week on your starting week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday from like 6 to 9, for example, try doing 6 to 9 on the weekdays. Okay, or try doing, like basically that same time on the weekdays. You don't need to be consistently on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but try to do it around that same timeline so that way other viewers on other days that are available that are obviously more accessible at that time, they'll be able to discover you and they're like, okay, this person streams from 6 to 9. I can tune in any of the days of the week if they're on. I'll pop into their stream and whatnot. And then of course, when you hopefully potentially get bigger and obviously you have much more viewership and whatnot, and you start to like make this as more of a a thing where it's like more consistent and like more a stabilized schedule, like, and you're noticing yourself like people are popping in on Wednesdays more often than let's say Tuesday or Monday. Wednesday's the day for you that you're going to be streaming now, right? So you got to key those things and you got to experiment every day and be like, what times are people coming in, and be consistent in the beginning, and then all of a sudden you're just going to be like, okay, these are the days and the times that people are coming in the most. I'm going to commit to this date and time, and I'm going to stick with it, and you go with that from there. So those are my three things for my second point: commitment, patience, and consistency. And yeah, third thing I want to say is your journey is the best advice. My advice, of course, is based upon my journey and my experience and what I went through and whatnot. Your journey is your journey, right? Now, for example, imagine if I was saying to you that, hey, I got 10,000 followers in 3 months and this is how you're going to do it and whatnot, blah, blah, blah. It's not necessarily it's gonna be the same for you, right? Maybe someone like myself or like someone else, for example, they were streaming at the right place at the right time, and luck just happened as well. You need a little bit of that as well, and things just happened from there, and you just blew up, right? It's a different thing for everybody else, so it's gonna be different for you. Your journey is gonna be different, and once again, enjoy your journey. Enjoy what you're making. Enjoy your content that you're making when you're streaming and whatnot as well. Enjoy the whole process, honestly. And don't ever say to yourself, like, oh man, I'm listening to all these videos and all these podcasts and all these freaking forums that I'm reading about streaming and I'm networking and doing this and that and blah, 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 and whatnot. The thing is that once you start taking all that information in you, you start to burn out. You start to get frustrated. You start to be like, I'm doing everything. And then eventually you're going to be like, I give up. I don't want to do this anymore. Right? You don't want to do that. You just want to have advice of motivational advice of how people started off. Like there are people like one guy I remember, I forgot, it was a podcast on Spotify. And this person, I liked his commitment to the actual streaming gig. So for example, he was saying that when he first started off streaming in the first 6 months, he remember he was saying that he had a job, he had a girlfriend, he had a family, whatever the case is, and he was just fully committed to also streaming as well. So anytime he had available, he was whether it be an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, he was streaming. There was a time where he went for a cottage trip with his family as well. He brought his Xbox 360 with him, right, to stream. So obviously this is like years ago. This is like 10, 15 years ago, but he was committed to it, right? He was like, whenever, anytime I can get out and I can stream and I have the ability and the time, get the time to stream, I'm gonna do it. So that's basically what he committed to, and that's what I liked about it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do the same thing. Anytime I have anything available to me, any schedule that's available, some open space in my week, whatever, I'm like, okay, this is gonna be occupied by streaming. and I'm gonna do that for that. Okay. So that's the thing that you should run away with is that. Okay. All right. My fourth point is gonna be a little bit weird because it's gonna go against the whole streaming thing in general, but it ties with it. And that is content creation is greater than streaming itself. Now, I'll tell you why that is. Picture this, for example. Imagine you're trying to find like a house or a person in like a desert or like in a winter like landscape, and it's like you can't find anybody, you can't get any help, whatever the case is. And you picture streaming as a light being shone away, far distance away, only for a certain time. Okay. And it's gone. And you're like, "Wait, where was that signal? Where was that light that I can find that person or that house or that location or whatever?" Content creation is basically footsteps, footprints, clues that you can find that person or that location. And the same thing goes for you. You need to put your footprint in the actual space with your content. So, what do I mean by that? If you're playing sport games, you show your team, you show your setup, your formation, the players that you have, the tips and tricks that you have for the game, the goal collages that you have, for example. Like, for example, I play FC 26. I have stopped for a little bit, but if I was to do that, I would showcase things like that or packs that you unpack in the game as well. If you're playing other games like Warzone or let's say for example Battlefield 6 and whatnot, you would showcase like, destructive like environments or like the most intense battles or like your preferred setup for the game or your preferred weapons for the game, tips and tricks once again. So basically, you would create content out of that game. That's when people know, okay, this is the type of person he is, right? Is he the informative person? Is she the funny person? Is he the descriptive person? Is he a more of a walkthrough person? Is he more whatever the case is? You need to create your own style, but once again, content creation is key. You do not make content, it's gonna be very, very hard. It's gonna be a long road for you. And I try my best to post 2 clips a day on TikTok, on YouTube, and Instagram and whatnot as well. One very, very important thing: if you're posting shorts, if you're posting TikToks, do not post them all in the same at the same time. The actual algorithm or the system will actually kind of like block you because they might think it's your spam. So don't do that. Be very, very smart about it. Also, look into when are your viewership is actually increasing on the date and the time that you're actually posting the videos. That matters as well. Make sure you keep track of that. But a lot of it is sometimes it is random. But there are moments where I'm like, okay, if I post, let's say, for example, at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a weekday, I know that the viewership is going to increase because people are going to come back at home in the evening, open their phones, look at content and whatnot, and consume that. And that's your time to obviously get that viewership up and get yourself noticed. So once again, content creation is key. You need to create content. Once you start creating content, whether through videos, TikToks, YouTube Shorts, Instagram posts, whatnot, your streaming game becomes easier because they're gonna be like, "Oh, I know this guy. This guy was there at that TikTok or that short that I saw. I want to see him live now." So basically, that's how it is. Another thing that I've learned is dealing with responses. Okay, and it's very, very crazy how people react to your content, how people react to your streams and whatnot as well. I had the privilege of meeting various different people around the world. Literally, I've had people come from like Norway, UK, France, Germany, United States, Canada. Like these are like the markets that I'm actually, or the countries that I'm actually getting viewers from. And it's crazy to see like all walks of life, jumping on my stream, interacting with me and whatnot as well, and they become really big fans of you, and become very supportive. And you see that love, you see that support, and you're like, that one person, for example, the first person that became my regular viewer was my driving force. Legit. Once you get that one viewer and that person keeps tuning in, you're going to keep coming on again and again and again. And literally, one becomes two, two becomes three, three becomes six, and whatnot. So it grows further and faster. Of course, you need to be As I mentioned earlier, you need to commit, be patient, consistent, but they motivate you, right? And there's the other side of things, which are the haters, the people that put on negative comments on your TikToks or your YouTube videos, YouTube shorts. I remember I made a video about um, I made a short as well in a TikTok about how ChatGPT built my gaming PC, and there were like 2, 3 people that were like shitting on me completely. They're like, "You have no knowledge. You don't know how to Google. You don't know how to do your research or whatever." And then I see random people come on in my defense, and they're like, "Why are people hating on you? What's wrong with people?" Like they're like, "Oh, glad that you built this PC. Glad that you were able to do this and whatnot." And I love those guys. And I thank everybody for defending me, especially in that one video. But your haters, enjoy them, because some of them are very funny. Some of them are actually freaking hilarious. And there are some times where like haters are just hating you, they just insult you. There's some like, like you just laugh. Like I remember there's this one guy. I was streaming FC 26, and one guy said that Unk, your time is done. Like you're washed out. You need to retire. Like you're the type of guy that would say back in my day I was good in FIFA, whatever. And I laughed at that. And that person actually started following me then. But it's just funny. Like I sometimes I just enjoy it, but then there are some people that are really insulting. Like I remember there's one time this one viewer insulted my family or something like that, and I was like, wow, that was very unnecessary, and I blocked him. And then he comes on with like 6, 7 different accounts, and he keeps saying the same thing again and again. So there are different ways you could obviously approach the haters, but honestly, you majority of them would roast you. Majority of them would be like kind of like shooting jabs at you and whatnot. And there are two things you could, or three things you can do it. You can either laugh at it, you can either ignore it, or what some people do is they block them or they remove them. So yeah, it's totally up to you how you want to approach it. I just judge it on a first come first basis. I'm like, okay, how are they reacting? If they're reacting to me being crap at a game, and I know I'm crap at a game, I laugh. So that's basically it. But yeah, that's what it is. Next one is, I think, the grand question that a lot of streamers ask consistently: what is the best platform to stream on? And in my personal opinion, TikTok wins and destroys everybody. I'll tell you why. TikTok, the algorithm actually forces and pushes you out. It literally tries to help you get noticed, right? Especially in that specific game. If you're a Warzone lover, if you love Battlefield 6, if you love a specific type of game, and you are making that type of content, and another person's indulging in that type of content as well, you're gonna be no they're gonna notice you at one point on a stream, and they're gonna jump on your stream, right? TikTok, I don't know how they do it, but it's so easily accessible and also easily noticeable that it's amazing. Um, in my personal opinion, Twitch, I do stream on Twitch as well. It has not been the best experience for me, personally speaking. A lot of bots are on Twitch, and I'm kind of feeling a little turned off by it. I might just like stick to like maybe like TikTok and YouTube and whatnot as well, and just go from there. But I'm still giving Twitch a chance. I just started Twitch like 2, 3 months ago. I know it's still a little bit early, but so far it's just bots and bots and bots, and it's just so damn annoying. And I know a lot of people when they stream, they say, "Oh, come on my Twitch or on the Purple app and whatnot as well." Sure, but I would suggest strongly in the beginning, TikTok is your place to go. You need to know how to master TikTok. You need to know how to jump on TikTok, and I think that TikTok would help you big time. Um, and that's the best way to get your foot forward. And once you have a good following on TikTok, you'll be able to obviously tell them, hey, I have a YouTube channel, I have Instagram, I have Twitch, I have Kick, whatever the case is. Make sure to follow over there as well. And of course, any of your loyal followers or any of your loyal viewers that are there, they'll be able to obviously go and follow you over there as well. So yeah. All right. Next point I want to talk about is the biggest lesson that I've learned throughout this year. And I think it's, do not put your all of your eggs in one basket. What do I mean by this? When you are streaming, okay, you obviously start as a niche, okay? You start in a specific game, specific genre, whatever the case is. In fact, I would recommend doing a genre. Don't do a game as a niche. I'll tell you why. If you start, like for example, I started streaming in FC 25, okay? I started streaming FC 25, and I stopped playing at towards the end of when FC 25 was done, which is basically like March, April, okay? And my following saw me as the FC guy, the guy that plays FC, the guy that plays FIFA, for example. I don't want to be known as that. I want to be known as a gamer. I want to be known as a streamer. I want to be known as an all-rounder, a person that you can talk about anything regarding gaming, even some certain subjects in life as well, which I want to expand that my page to as well. But I don't want to be known as that one person. And I noticed that when I tried to venture out to other games as well, whether it be Warzone, Battlefield, whatever the case is, my viewership dropped. Why? Because they're expecting FC content, right? So my advice to you is when you start out, do a genre. So for example, if you're saying, "Hey, I want to do sports. I want to do FC," all right? Or if I want to do NBA, or if I want to do NFL, whatever the case is, are there any other sport games that you play? Now, if there aren't any other sports games that you don't play, then that should be one of the games that you play. Venture out immediately to another game in the beginning. So let's say, for example, you do NBA 2K, and let's say you're doing Warzone, right? These are the two main games that you play, and you switch back and forth. Do that. Be consistent back and forth. Do clips back and forth. Don't keep posting one specific type of video game that you're playing, right? Because what's gonna happen is the algorithm that you're posting on TikTok, on YouTube, whatever the case is, it's gonna say this is guy is or this girl or whoever, however you identify yourself, NBA 2K. That's what they're known for, or they're known for Fortnite, or they're known for this and that. And if you like that, by all means go for it. But if you're like that type of person where you're like, hey, I want to try everything, I want to do everything, I want to do what it is, like I want to go to other games as well, don't do that. But then there's a flip side to it. There's a flip side to it where it still is putting all your eggs in one basket if you keep trying different games. So, for example, if I'm playing 1 week FC, 1 week I'm playing Warzone, 1 week I'm playing Battlefield 6, 1 week I'm playing Roblox or Fortnite or whatever, the algorithm, your platform is gonna be like, "Who is this guy? Where do we push this content to?" Right? So you need to be very specific, but at the same time, not too specific to the point where you're stuck and you hate yourself and you're like, "I don't want to stream anymore." Right? And that's where I was like, you know what? I don't want to just continue doing FC. I want to do other games as well. So that's why I'm like, going on. I'm gonna venture out and start posting content for other games as well. So basically, that's what it is. That's my biggest lesson that I learned is don't put all your eggs in one basket. Be very focused on a specific niche, but don't be too focused where it's that's just you, or don't be too broad where it's like, okay, who is this guy, right? And my once again, my advice is go for like a genre niche, like you're known as the horror game person, or you're known as the strategy game person, or whatever the case is, and go from there. Anyways, so here are my future plans now. Since I've now been streaming for a year, I want to go back to the past. I want to go to retro gaming at one point. I want to play older games that I've grown up with, especially on the SNES, on the Dreamcast, on the PS2, the PS3, whatnot as well. I definitely want to do that. I definitely want to share my experience, and with obviously people my age as well, and of course the younger generation as well. They'll be able to experience the games that I grew up with, and the games that a lot of people have grew up with that they did not have a chance to. Right. So I definitely want to do that as well. I definitely want to do more competitive games too. So Warzone is definitely one of them. I mean, I know it's been there for a while. Battlefield 6 is there, of course, as well. But other games are very tactical, very competitive. You need to use your brain a lot. You need to use like take tips, tricks, and like strategies and stuff like that. I want to do that as well. Um, so yeah, that's another focus of mine as well. And last thing is, I just don't want to only make content about gaming. I want to combine gaming and life together, right? So, for example, I have this one event that's going to happen in Toronto. There's an expo that's going to happen on November 22nd and 23rd. I want to make content around that as well, right? So, what is my experience going there? What it looks like? What the expo looks like? What I picked up at that expo, for example, as well. Just give you a little example. I definitely want to do other content as well. Like I want to do video game collecting as well. So, for example, going out to like any garage sales, yard sales, thrift stores, value villages, whatnot, seeing if I could get any games and add them to my collection. And yeah, and of course, like anything to do with my regular life, my job. what I do and other than gaming and whatnot as well. Definitely like to share that window as well with you guys because I kind of feel like you know when you watch someone streaming, sure, like they're playing a video game and whatnot, but I kind of feel like I want to know this person too. Like, what are they like? What do they have a family? Do they live alone? Do they like? I'm not trying to be like Big Brother like, but like it's more like you want to know them as a person too, not just like the streamer, right? That's probably you probably may have noticed like I, you know, named myself as gamer dad, content creator, streamer. Like I'm trying to like combine these things together. Like, hey, I'm a dad, I'm married, my daughter's like 4 months, 4.5 months by the time this video's done and whatnot as well. So it is what it is. That's what I want to share with that with you guys and hopefully you will enjoy this journey and there's definitely more years to come for sure. And I will continue streaming because I love video games. So that's what I want to do. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope maybe this video may have given you some sort of advice, maybe some sort of direction on how you want to go with your streaming and whatnot as well. If this helped you at any way whatsoever, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I want to hear from you as well what your journey's like. Maybe if you have any specific questions you want to ask, anything to do with equipment, a specific scenario that you're in, whatever the case is, or even share your experience as well. I definitely want to read that. Anyways, thank you so much once again for your time for watching this, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take care and bye bye.